Madhuri, who was suffering from severe cough and fever. She went to consult a doctor. While she was waiting, the doctor
Hello, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Good morning, sir. Shall we start?
Yes, sir. Good morning. So, if you're ready, we can start. Ashmita?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Today, on this auspicious day, we all are joined here to recognize the Pharmacovigilance Awareness Program, organized by the Experimental Pharmacological Laboratory, Department of Pharmacology, PGI-MER, Chandigarh, under the aegis of Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission is an autonomous institution of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It was created to set standards for drugs and medical devices in the country. Its basic function is to regularly update its standard of medical products commonly required for the treatment of diseases prevailing in the region. We thank the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission for joining hands with us in this initiative. Pharmacovigilance is basically activities related to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or any other medicine-related problems. Pharmacovigilance Week is all about raising awareness of the pharmacovigilance and the material vigilance program of India. So this year's theme is boosting public confidence in pharmacovigilance. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Padmanabha Reddy, Principal of Raghavendra Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Dr. K. Vinod Kumar, Director of Academics, and Dr. A. Sudhir, HOD of Pharmacy Practice with us. Now, I would like to request Dr. Shreya Gupta. She is a DM resident here in the Department of Pharmacology, PGI-MER, Chandigarh, to begin with the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'll just share my slides. Can you see my slides? Are they visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, very good morning to everyone. I'm Dr. Shreya. I'm currently pursuing BM Clinical Pharmacology in PGI-MER, Chandigarh. So today, as per the requirement of the Pharmacovigilance Week, so I will be talking about the basic concept and the history, how it evolved, pharmacovigilance, and a little bit about material vigilance, with the theme boosting public confidence in pharmacovigilance. So these are all the topics that I will be covering. So the concept and the history, what are adverse drug reactions, how we differentiate them from adverse events, what is the importance of pharmacovigilance, the setup that we have in our country with the various roles and responsibilities of the stakeholders and how the information is communicated under PVPI. Then the various digital tools that WHO has provided for collection and analysis. Then a brief about material vigilance and concluding with the India's journey so far and the way forward. So pharmacovigilance, as we understand, it is the science and activities which relate to the detection, assessment, understanding and prevention of adverse effects or any other drug-related problems. So basically pharmacovigilance not only deals with allopathic medications, but it also deals with biological products, blood products, herbals, vaccines, medical devices, all traditional and complementary medicines, Why? Because it's important for us to identify whether there are any hazards that are associated with the products available in the market, so we can prevent further harm to the patient. So just a quick history, like how it all started and what were the initial reasons that this concept evolved. So in 1848, it was one of the initial reports of death due to a drug-induced reaction, which was by chloroform. So there was this girl called Hannah. So she was a 15-year-old girl who had come for an OPD procedure of removal of a toenail. And she was a healthy girl, but she died after giving chloroform. So this was one of the initial reports which was generated of a drug-induced severe reaction. Then in 1937, in US, the elixir sulfanilamide gained a lot of traction, but they had used a solvent diethylene glycol in that. And that had actually led to deaths of over 100 patients across US. So this was another major incident that happened. After that, in 1938, the Federal Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act was established in United States. Why? Because they realized that they have to renovate their healthcare system and prevent such tragedies from happening in the future. However, in 1961, I'm sure a lot of you would be aware of the thalidomide tragedy. So that also happened. So why? Because thalidomide was a drug which used to be prescribed to pregnant women to prevent nausea vomiting. Right, so it was a very potent drug, so a lot of women would consume it, but what they saw later on, that all these women who took this drug in their pregnancy, they were producing children with malformed limbs. So phocomelia is a condition that was seen in which there was underformed arms and legs, seal limbs it was called. Right, so this was another major red flag that they realized that we need to monitor drugs more carefully before giving them approval. So in 1964, in UK, the yellow card system was introduced, which is their way of collecting ADRs, the name that they have given for ADR collection. And further, the European legislation was developed. Then in 1968, the WHO program for international drug monitoring was instituted. Then the European Medical Association was organized. So basically, a lot of these upcoming events kept on happening, which is why the current concept of pharmacovigilance came into being. So the WHO launched the pharmacovigilance program, and India currently is one of the member nations. So this is a thalidomide tragedy that had happened. So you can see that these are how deformed the limbs would be of the kids whose mothers consumed this drug. And these are the newspaper reports from the sulfanilamide elixir tragedy that happened because of the solvent that they had used. So in India, if we look at how pharmacovigilance evolved, so the ADR monitoring system was proposed back in 1986. So we had only 12 regional centers back then. Then in 1997, India joined the WHO monitoring program. So we had 3 centers, AIMS, KEM and JNM. Then in 2004 to 8, the National Pharmacovigilance Program happened. And finally in 2010, the PBPI, or the Pharmacovigilance Program of India, that was initiated. So now coming to what is an adverse drug reaction and how do we differentiate it from an adverse event. So an ADR, as it states in the name, so it has the word drug in it. So ADR is a response to a drug which is unintended, it is noxious, but it is occurring at doses that we are normally using in man. Maybe for prophylaxis, diagnosis, therapy, any reason. So these are basically, more or less expected side effects and expected reactions that we know that they can happen at the doses that we are normally using in man. Whereas what is an adverse event? So adverse event may or may not be related to the treatment. But it is any unexpected, any untoward occurrence that happens during the course of treatment of a patient. Like if you're treating a patient for a month under your follow-up and some unexpected rash or fever, flares up or something happens which was not expected as per the normal routine of illness that was happening. So now it may or may not be related to any medicine that he might be consuming. So we go back and we look at the various medicines, and we try to ascertain the reason for that unexpected event that took place. Now, if it is relating to a drug, then we will call it an ADR. But if it is not, then it is just known as an adverse event. So there are various types of ADRs that have been described depending on whether it's related to dose or time or other issues. So they are classified as A, B, C, D, E, F. So type A are augmented or dose related, meaning that these are basically the side effects which are commonly expected because they are related to the pharmacological action of the drug. So they are predictable and they can be managed. So all in your package insert, so you have the ADR column, you have the side effects which are mentioned of each and every drug. So these are basically type A kind of ADRs. For example, TCA is causing anticholinergic effects or SSRI is causing serotonin syndrome. Right? So these are expected side effects. Then type B are bizarre. Now these are non-dose related, meaning that they are uncommon because they are not as per the pharmacological action of the drug. So that's why they are unpredictable. We don't know in which patients they might happen. Okay. For example, penicillin is known to cause hypersensitivity in some patients, in not all, but in a few patients they can have severe skin reactions or they can even have anaphylaxis. Right. Now it is not possible to determine before administering the drug that in which patient this can happen. So this is a bizarre reaction, it is a type B reaction. So what is to be done is that in the future we document it and if that particular patient does not receive the said drug. Type C are chronic. Chronic meaning they are dose and time related. So they are again uncommon, but they happen because of a cumulative effect of multiple doses. Right? So for example, if you are giving corticosteroids to a patient for a long period, we know that it will cause HPA axis suppression. Okay? So, but in an acute, short-term duration it will not, but long-term chronic use can cause changes in the HPA axis. So these are your chronic adverse effects. Then type B are your delayed. Delayed meaning they are mainly related to time, not as much related to dose. For example, any drug which is causing teratogenesis, so like even thalidomide, for instance, or dihydrotilbestro. So this drug used to be given in women of reproductive age group, but up until a few years ago they realized that it shows a delayed side effect, meaning that these women when they get pregnant and they give birth to a female child, that child is prone to get vaginal adenocarcinoma in her adolescent or teenage years. Okay, so this is a very delayed effect that we saw of this drug. So this was found out after a long term of cohort study, and then this was banned in females of reproductive age. So such reactions, teratogenesis, carcinogenesis, tardive dyskinesia or any Parkinsonism syndrome that we see in patients taking antipsychotics. So these are delayed side effects, ADRs. Then type E are end of use. End of use meaning like you are giving a drug for a long time and you suddenly stop it. Or someone is taking some substance abuse disorder is there, like alcohol, opioids, etc. Right? So if you suddenly stop it, they will have a withdrawal. Okay, so this would be known as a type E kind of ADR. Then very important is type F, that is failure of therapy. So we must understand that not just an adverse event or an adverse reaction like a side effect is important to report, but also if the drug is not performing its intended purpose, right? If there is a failure of therapy, like you're giving paracetamol but fever is not subsiding, even that needs to be reported. Why? Because there may be some issue with the formulation, maybe the dose was not correct, maybe the patient had some liver issues which is why he's not metabolizing the drug properly. So, there can be multiple issues why it is causing failure of therapy. For example, antibiotics showing resistance, that is also failure of therapy. So these are also things that should be reported. So we can see that is there any issue that can be resolved in terms of formulation, in terms of dose adjustment. Right? So these are all the various types of ADRs which have been defined and classified. Now there are two somewhat confusing terms which are seen with ADRs. So one is a serious adverse effect, one is a severe adverse effect. So a serious adverse effect is any occurrence which leads to these 5 issues. Okay, so it can lead to death, requirement of hospital admission, prolongation of existing state, any disability or incapacity, be it physical, mental, psychological, or life-threatening. Right. So if only a side effect is or an adverse effect is causing any of these five issues, then it is termed as a serious adverse effect. Whereas, what is severe? Severe means that it is the intensity of the event. So we have classification like mild, moderate, severe, correct? So that is what the severe refers to. Now you may have a fever which is 104, beyond 104 also, which is which is severe form of fever. But that might not be serious. It might not lead to death or hospital admission, right? So it's a severe reaction, but not a serious one. So every severe reaction will not be a serious adverse effect. So this is how we have to differentiate between these. Now another term which we come across ADR reporting is signal generation. Okay. So what is a signal? Signal means that let's say for a particular drug causing, let's say, rash. Now you are getting multiple reports of this incident from, let's say, a particular area or multiple areas or across the world. Right, so you're getting multiple reports reporting a similar kind of reaction from a particular drug. Now these multiple reports end up generating a signal, meaning that now there is a red flag about this particular drug, that it may have some issues in certain populations probably, and we need to look into it deeper. Right, so signal basically suggests a possible causal relationship between an event and a drug, and maybe this was not previously known, or it was just documented as some case reports, but it was not investigated thoroughly. Okay, so of course we need more than a single report to generate a signal, and depending on how serious the event is and how prevalent it has become, the further actions are taken. So this is basically how it happens. So if there is an event that is happening, multiple people are reporting it, so a signal is generated, then it is substantiated, meaning that we will do literature search, we will see whether this is some known side effect or has it been previously documented or not. Then we analyze the pathway. We try to see that why is it that it is causing this this event which was not previously known. Yeah, and then we can do in silico simulation also, in which we see if it's binding to certain unknown receptors or unwanted receptors. So basically you have to analyze why is it that this event is happening. So once we are able to understand what is the reason behind it, then the further steps are taken, which may be a label change, it may be even product recall can happen, right? So depending on how serious the event is. Now coming to causality assessment. So this is very important when we talk about ADR reporting. So we have multiple scales how we can assess the causality, that is whether or not the adverse effect was caused due to a drug. So we have to ascertain that. So one is the WHO UMC, other is the Naranjo scale. So these are two of the most commonly used scales. So first I talk about the WHO UMC scale. So they have classified as certain, probable, possible, unlikely, unclassified. Okay. So certain. What do you mean by certain? So this means that the event or the test of normality, it has a plausible time relationship to the drug intake, which is not explained by the disease or any other drugs. Okay. And we have de-challenge and re-challenge possible. So what does de-challenge mean? Let's say you are having some rash because of a drug. Now once you stop the drug, you see in the next 2-3 days and you realize that the rash has disappeared. So now what is it? It's a de-challenge test which is positive. So when you de-challenge the drug, the event subsided. Now what is re-challenge? Re-challenge means that now let's say you want to make sure that it is because of this drug only that this rash appeared, no other reason. So you reintroduce the drug to that patient, and again you see a rash coming up in the next 2-3 days. So now this is re-challenge also. So re-challenge has come positive, right? So now you can say with certainty that this rash was because of this XYZ drug. Okay, so this is how you ascertain that it was certain that this drug led to this event. Now what is probable? Probable means that while it has a reasonable time relationship, which is unlikely to be due to any other disease or drugs, but we could not do a re-challenge test here. Okay, so we de-challenged it and the event disappeared, but re-challenge did not happen. So then we would call it probable. Then possible meaning that reasonable time relationship was there, but maybe the patient was taking other drugs also, which may also have a allergic potential, right? Or the disease in itself may flare up and lead to some immunological reaction. So we're not sure if it is because of the drug. So it is possible. Unlikely meaning what? That even though there may or may not be a time relationship with the drug. Okay, so it is not impossible, but it is improbable. Maybe it was a delayed reaction, or maybe after a few days or weeks it occurred. So we're not sure if the drug is the reason for it or not. Okay, so it's unlikely. Then you have unclassified, inaccessible. So basically this means that your information is incomplete. Maybe the form was not filled properly, the event was not communicated properly. So we need more data to tell whether the event actually occurred and what was the reason. So then we put it under unclassified or unaccessible. Now this is the Naranjo scale. So Naranjo scale is again, this is a question answer based scale. So you have 10 questions and you have a marking. So it ranges from -1 to 2. So you have to answer these questions, right? And you compile a score, numerical score. Now the scoring, once you will add it, so if it is more than 9, it is definite, 5 to 8 is probable, 1 to 4 possible, and less than 0 is doubt. So now, why is it important that we should report ADRs? Why are we having so much of awareness programs and all? So, see, ADRs can become a very important reason for mortality and morbidity, and in India it already is, because they account for 5% of hospital admissions in India. Especially because here we have a lot of unsolicited drug consumption, right? There are a lot of patients who are taking medicines without any prescription, or they are continuing medicines which should have been stopped, but they're not following the doctor's orders, or they are non-compliant to medicines, right? Then there's a lot of intermixing between different systems of medicine. They are taking complementary medicines, Ayurveda, homeopathy, along with allopathic medicines, and they are not even disclosing it, right? So these are some of the reasons why in India ADRs actually constitute a significant burden on the healthcare system. But because there is lack of awareness that it might be just because of some drug that you are consuming, there's a lot of underreporting that happens. Also important to note is that a lot of ADRs are unknown when a drug enters the market. For example, in COVID, when vaccines were being approved, so before they came to the market, all the vaccines were deemed to be very safe and very efficacious and everything. But what happened once they were manufactured to the general public, a lot of health concerns came up, right? There was a lot of data generated, some heart issues, some cardiovascular problems, some other issues that were happening in the patients. Now, this was not known prior, or maybe it didn't seem as important because trials happen in only a few hundred patients. But once it goes in the market, a lot of new information is generated. So then it leads to further, label changes and other things that can happen, restrictions that can happen. So that is why ADRs are very important to report, right? Okay, now who can report ADRs? So all healthcare professionals, including clinicians, pharmacists, nurses, etc., they can all report, and along with that, even non-healthcare professionals, patients, their caregivers, they can also now report ADRs. So what should we report? All types of reactions, whether they are known, unknown, serious, non-serious, frequent, rare, okay, and from all types of products, allopathy, Ayurvedic, vaccines, devices. So we have systems in place now how we can report ADRs from all these various products. So these are the tools which are used currently for ADR reporting. So we have a mobile application, it's an Android application. We have toll-free number. This is the ADR reporting form which is filled by healthcare professionals. And we have ADR monitoring center which are spread across the country over 850 locations. So you can directly contact the Pharmacovigilance associate and they can assist you further in filing the report. So this is the ADR reporting form that has been released by Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. So this is for voluntary reporting by healthcare professionals. So we are on the version 1.4 right now. Okay, so these are the various sections that have to be filled. Now the ones which are highlighted in red, these are the mandatory sections. Without without this information, the report will be deemed incomplete. Okay, so you have the patient information, the initials, age, weight, gender, then the suspected reaction. So when did the event start? When did it stop? What was the details? You have to write it in your own words that what you saw, what happened to that patient. Then you can substantiate it with some investigations if it was conducted. Right, any other medication history or any past history which is relevant, any comorbidities. Then here you have the seriousness. So this is what I had defined earlier, how to say whether a reaction is serious. So if any of these 5 things are happening, only then we will say that it is serious. Otherwise it is a non-serious reaction. Then the outcome. Did the patient recover? Is he still recovering? Not recovered? Was it fatal? Any sequelae? Or whether it was lost to follow-ups. You don't know what happened to the patient. Okay, so that you have to tick mark. Then comes suspected medications. Meaning that what are medications are you suspecting as a healthcare professional that could have led to the event. So you will write the name, the manufacturer, lot number, expiry date, dose, frequency, right? What is the indication? Why was it started? Then the causality assessment. So this causality assessment we are doing as per a WHO scale, whether it is certain, probable, possible, was B challenge done. So on basis of that we write the causality for all the suspected medications. Then we come to the action taken. So here you tick. Did you do any change in therapy after you realized that something has happened? Was the drug withdrawn, dose increased, reduced, right? Then this is the section for re-challenge. That if the drug was reintroduced, did the reaction reappear? So that you have to tick. Then concomitant medical products. So any other complementary medicine or anything else that the patient is taking, so that we write. Okay. Then you have the reporter details. Reporter details is again mandatory, so this is highlighted in red. So it's important that we are able to contact the person who has reported. So the name, address, phone number, email address, all of this should be mentioned here. Okay, so this is basically all the various sections that we fill for this form. Now this is the ADR PVPI app, so it can be downloaded on Android. So here is a list of some drugs. There is a huge list, but these are just a few drugs which have been withdrawn from the market post pharmacovigilance. Okay, so you can see that most of the reasons are toxicity, right? So hepatic, cardiovascular, skin reaction. So these are mainly the reasons for withdrawal. But now one of this drug, fluoxetine, so this was withdrawn due to lack of efficacy. Because there is no point having a molecule in the market which is not doing anything. So why should you prescribe it to patients? So even a lack of efficacy or failure, which is a type F kind of a reaction, that has to be reported. So coming to the importance, of course, patient safety is utmost importance as the healthcare industry. Then efficacy. So again, if it is not showing efficacy, then it is of no use to us. So then any SAEs, so any serious adverse events that are happening, that has to be reported. And very importantly, it helps us analyze the risk-benefit ratio. Now there are obviously, no drug will be free from adverse reaction, right? But it's very important to see that if there is even a serious adverse event, if there is a risk of that, how much is the benefit ratio as compared to the risk, correct? So how, if the benefits are outweighing the risk, then we may take a chance and give the patient that particular medicine because he might show more benefit than harm. Correct? So, but for being able to assess the risk-benefit ratio, we need to have information first. So that is what vigilance helps us collect. It helps us collate the information so we can make an informed decision in the future. Okay. Then of course it's important to educate the general public. So when they are consuming drugs, they are able to report if they are feeling any reaction is happening because of the drug. So they should be able to report, but they'll only report once they know, once they are educated enough for that. So this is the pharmacovigilance setup, basically how the flow of information happens. So you have the people who report, so physicians, healthcare professionals, pharmacists. So they are reporting the adverse effects. Then the data is collected and analyzed. So we have a medical specialist, we have pharmacologists or pharmacists here. Then it's in communication with the regulatory authorities and the industry professionals. So then the further steps are decided, whether it warrants a warning, or whether we have to withdraw the drug from the market. So all of this is then handled at a higher level. So they make these executive decisions and what is to be done next. So this is the setup that we have in our country. So the healthcare professionals, they are communicating the ADRs to the ADR monitoring centers, which are in communication with the zonal offices. So we have in Ghaziabad, Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, North, South, East, West zone. Right, then we are further, so you have the regional training centers, so constant training and continuing medical education that keeps happening for all the professionals involved here. And they are in communication with the NCC. So the National Coordination Center of Pharmacovigilance is an IPC Ghaziabad. Right, so they have their steering committee, working group, signal review, co-training, quality review panel. So these are all the various groups which work in conjunction with each other to further communicate their findings to CDSCO headquarters in Delhi. Right, now CDSCO is the governing body, so they are in touch with the marketing authorization holders, that is industry professionals, and the Uppsala Monitoring Center. So this is at the global level. So they are the ones who have collaborated with WHO to give the WHO UMC scale. So UMC stands for Uppsala Monitoring Center. So they are based out of Sweden. So they are in communication. So we are as CDSU in communication with UMC as well. So this is just same thing that I have shared so far. So we have various roles and responsibilities of all the stakeholders, the administrative body, the national PV centers and the area monitoring centers, which are usually in the medical colleges or private hospitals, right? So they are all working and they all have their separate roles and responsibilities to handle the information. So this is a map which is showing the spread of the area monitoring centers across. So now we have much more actually. This is not a very updated map. So we have about 850 centers right now all over India. So in PGI, this is the website that we have for our pharmacovigilance center. So this is the PGI AMC number and the toll-free number. So this is how the communication happens under PVPI. So India is a WHO member country. So all of the national pharmacovigilance centers from here, IPC Ghaziabad, so it is communicated to the WHO headquarters in Geneva and the Uppsala Monitoring Center in Sweden. This is how the reporting happens, and then you have the analysis, because it is a global concern if any signal is being generated or any safety concern has come up. So globally they also look at the information and further analysis and decision making is done and communicated to all the member countries. So these are the tools that we have currently at our disposal for the data collection. So we have Vigibase. So this is a WHO database where individual case safety reports, they are uploaded. Right, then we have Vigilize, which is more of like an overview of Vigibase. So we can explore the various case reports here, the demographic overview, case series, etc. Then Vigi Access is the general public's entry. Right, so even the general public can see the suspected ADRs and how much data has been collected so far. Then VigiFlow is again a web-based individual case report management system. Right, so these are some of the various tools that we have for data collection. Then we have tools for data analysis. So VigiGrade measures the report quality. Like I said, completeness of the report is very important, because only then can we understand whether it's authentic and we have the relevant information. So like I said in the form, so there are certain mandatory sections that we have to fill. So only then is the report found to be complete. So VigiGrade measures the report quality. Then VigiMatch. So now again, we cannot have multiple reports of the same patient, because that will lead to unnecessary filing and exaggeration of the event. So that's why this helps in removing any duplication. So it detects the duplicate reports if they have been submitted, and so we can have a better understanding of what is what. So VigiMatch is used for that. Then VigiRAN. So VigiRAN is a statistical signal detection method. So like I said, once there are reports which are being filed for a similar event with a similar drug from multiple areas, so that is what generates a signal. So VigiRAN is a software which is used for that signal generation. So that was basically the important parts which are the must-know parts for pharmacovigilance. So just a few words about material vigilance, which is still upcoming and evolving branch right now. So now, not just in drugs, we have also extended the vigilance to all the medical devices that are being used. So this is a system for identification, collection, reporting and analysis of any adverse events happening with medical devices. So this was launched in 2015. Again, IPC Ghaziabad is the NCC for MVPI and Sri Chipra Institute is the National Collaborating Center for MVPI. So now what all comes under medical devices? So any device, any instrument that we are using, right from a syringe to a cannula, to a catheter, to heart valves, pacemakers, even ventilators, heart-lung machines, basically anything that we are using as an instrument or a device in humans or animals for diagnosis, prevention, monitoring, treatment, all of these devices come under the purview of MVPI. Okay, so they may be for just blood drawing to sustaining life. So all of these devices, right from the beginning till the big huge ones, so all of them come under devices. So how is the flow of information that happens? So again, it's similar. The reporting is done by the healthcare professionals. Data is collected, analyzed by the National Material Vigilance Center. If there is any signal detection that happens, then again with the CDSCO and the manufacturer, so they are they sit down and they decide that what was the reason for the malfunction or any adverse event that happened and what is to be done next. So whether we should withdraw it, there should be a box warning, change in package inserts, advisory. So anything that needs to be taken, then that is decided by the regulatory authorities. So this is the partnership, the various partners involved in MVPI. So right now, just like ADR monitoring centers, so we are having the medical device AE monitoring centers as well, right? So these are the proposed institutes. So PGI Chandigarh, Biomedical Engineering, then CMC Vellore, AIMS, PGI Rohtak, Ludhiana. So these are all the institutes which are currently being proposed as the medical device AE monitoring centers. So again, we have multiple ways to report. So you have the form, mobile application, which is same as the ADR one, and the helpline. So just a quick look at the form for medical device AE reporting. So this is a more comprehensive. Okay, so the ADR reporting is a one-page form, but this is actually a four-page form. Why? Because here a lot of additional information is required for medical devices, right? So we have to know why the device was implanted, or was it for a short duration or a longer duration. So you have the indication of the device here, right? Was it a diagnostic? Was it a therapeutic one? Then other details like the model number, lot number, software, if it was used, so what was the software version, then the installation date, expiration date, when was it last serviced, right? So all these additional information we have to provide. Then of course the event has to be described in what kind of patient and indication it was used, and it will give a description of the event. Okay, so then the causality assessment is done and the future action that needs to be taken, that is communicated here. Okay, so this is a more comprehensive form as compared to the area. So looking at India's journey, how far we have come and where we are expected to head towards in the coming few years. So this is just a graph showing the trends of ADR reporting. So of course this is an outdated one, it's 2015, but we can see that the report collection has been increasing steadily every year, right? And now with the increasing awareness and tools that we have for reporting, definitely the ADR reporting rate in India has gone up by a lot since it had first started in 2010. So now this is the website for Ayush Suraksha, right? So this is also come under pharmacovigilance itself. So here for any Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, homeopathy system, so they can also report their events, or they can call, or they can talk to a AMC center, so the Pharmacovigilance Associate can help. So this is a quick recap of how we have evolved over the years. So in 2010, the PVPI program of India was launched, and AIMS was initially the NCC. So that time we began with just 22 area monitoring centers. Then as we went ahead in 2012, the Hemovigilance program of India was started. So for any reporting of adverse events with blood products, so that started. So that time the AMCs again, it grew to 90. Then in 2015, the Material Vigilance program was initiated. In 2016, when bedaquiline came to India, so bedaquiline is reserved drug for MDR-TB. So active surveillance started for that. Active surveillance meaning that any patient who was taking bedaquiline, they were followed up actively, and they were asked if they are facing any adverse event, right? So that database was created in India. Then as we went ahead, so there was more training, more involvement of institutes, research institutes, medical institutes were nationwide. Then in 2018, the pharmacovigilance for Ayush drugs, so the Ayush Suraksha, that came into being. Right, and so moving ahead, we have seen that the AMCs kept on increasing, and now actually we have reached 850 area monitoring centers. So of course, then we launched the National Pharmacovigilance Week. So we are on the third National PV Week this year. So of course, the knowledge and the information that is being spread across, it has been increasing steadily, and India has a long way to go, because now even veterinary pharmacovigilance is coming up, right? And material vigilance is still in its infancy, but it is being evolved every single day. So the more robust way of reporting and causality assessments, all those skills are now coming up. So we have a long way to go, but we've definitely come a long way as well. So with this, I would like to end my talk. If anyone has any questions or comments, we can have them now. Thank you so much for patient listening.
Thank you so much, Shreya. Thank you so much. Yeah, good afternoon to all. Sorry, I was some ministerial meeting actually, that's why I am not able to join. Whatever I think Shreya have told you, all aspect about this pharmacovigilance material. Important thing is that when this pharmacovigilance week was started in IPC, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, there was a meeting. And now, as we have proposed the awareness program, and also the objective of this pharmacovigilance program, when it was started in 2010. So at that time the objective was to collect the area and send to the. So right now what happening is that the quality of report we are getting is quite apprehensive. It is good quality of report as compared to the last year or even the last 8 years. So right now what they are proposing, that now we have to move ahead, and now we are proposing all AMCs, area monitoring center and training center, whoever is involved in this pharmacovigilance program, now we have to change our objective. Change our objective means you can say that you have to add also. That's why when we have to report the areas, whatever the quality will. Because whenever 2019 this NDCB rule came, new drug clinical trial rule 2019. With that, we have also received one room and gazette notification about the compensation rule of the clinical trial. So always remember, when we fill this ICSR or individual case safety report or the PSUR, periodic safety update report for the company purpose. So whatever new drug is there or even a marketed drug, for both drugs, what the regulator is saying right now is that if there is some relatedness of the positive drug, or you can say the adverse event and the drug have the tangential relationship, then what will happen? Association is established by the causality assessment, or there will be chances of the compensation. So whenever we are doing any clinical trial of regulatory type, so we have the special precaution to be taken. And second thing, that's why most of the even the academic clinical trials, it is the intervention in nature where we have to prescribe the drug or give the drug to the patient. We have to taking care of all the insurance because the right now what the regulator is saying, whatever the intervention trial, whether it is the academic trial or it is the pharmaceutical or sponsored trial, you have to do the registration for the compensation trial. Why I am saying this reason being when on the 18th there was a meeting, there it is a clear cut demonstration of that we have reaching a milestone of the ADR reporting and the quality wise also it is 0.98 which is nearby 1 which is the best quality we need. So even in WHO scaling our scale is reached up to 3rd place. So we have the good quality reports. So now we are moving somewhat towards the personalized medicine. Personalized medicine is what we proposing that if some ADR occurring of the category of the patient का मतलब कोई cohort है where it is as specialized to the male-female ratio or you can say the age related. So if these type of the ADR is occurring to a particular patient, why it is so? So we can also move towards the pharmacogenomic study within this AMC or you can say this pharmacovigilance program. So now there are so many things is going on parallel in academic section also, in regulators also. Even we are awareing these to the doctors, physician, clinician also so that we can also propose more and more pharmacogenomic studies so that we can study more and more ADR profiling of the drugs. Okay, see if it is a common area, so we cannot say okay relativeness is there or not. So it will not have much concern. But whenever there is some serious adverse event, so we are concerned. Someone carbamazepine and several other drugs which causes stable Johnson syndrome. These are very serious type. Okay, 10 it is called very serious type. Phenetone, gingivitis, serious gingivitis, severe type. So if we are coming across with these type of drugs, there maybe we can take one step ahead and whoever investigator or coordinator who are there in the pharmacovigilance team, so they can also propose some pharmacovigilance work so that we can move towards the personalization. So it is one step ahead from the what we are having the ADR and reporting of those drug and ADR to the IPC. Okay, so now we are moving ahead. So I think Shreya have told very brief and good presentation for the pharmacovigilance and material vigilance, and also I will say you that pharmacovigilance and material vigilance, these two sections of this pharmacology as a job prospect is a good. Right now in the pharma industry, in government regulator strategy, even in hospitals, there are so many pharmacovigilance posts coming out. So if person who are doing M-Farm, person who are doing the Farm D, they can take this as an opportunity and they can also read this. Okay, so that it will good. Suppose material vigilance, so you must follow up the medical devices rule 2017 and what was the amendment came afterwards. So you all are aware, so that we are building a. Your sound is not clear. Please, can you go come ahead? Come again. Can you report drug interaction? Can you report drug interaction? This is the question. Okay. Actually, what happened in 2010, all the stakeholder was given permission to report. Suppose all the healthcare stakeholders means all the pharmacists, all the nurses, all the doctors. These were in the previous phase in the 2010 to 2014 and 15. In 2015 onwards, we allowed everybody, means even the patient, their caregiver, every can report. Even you, your family members can report. The only thing is that you will report, but you are a stakeholder of the health. But suppose patient or caregiver will report now, so we have to verify the report for its authenticity and quality. Understood? So this is the thing. We come across from after 2015. So right now anybody can report. Understood? Anybody can report. And that only thing is that the information should be correct and complete. Understood? Means all the information about the drug and all the information of the ADR. So you can do it. Anybody can. He allowed everyone. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, is there question? No, come again. What are the quality program for the instruments? You want to know about the quality program, no? See, whenever we give, you are asking about the material to medical devices, huh?
So she's saying qualification, like because they don't know about devices.
I mean, devices for the
Qualifications to
material.
work in materials.
Okay. Right now, when this material business program was launched, at that time we have only allowed BTech people who are well defined and qualified for the quality of the instruments. But problem was that at that time they are not even knowing about the biologics as well as the biological system. So there was a problem. So now we have allowed MPharm also, we or engineering person also, but they should have some background information about the medical. So you people, they say MPharm, PharmD are allowed in the material business. They can take as a challenge and can take as a career of the material business. So MPharm and PharmD both are allowed. They can join as a in the technical associate in the material business. So now for the material business program, there are two things. Material business program can be joined in the regulator level, in the AMC, okay, in an area monitoring center, or you can also join in the industry level, where they have to mandatory report areas. So there is a vacancy for the material business. So again the requirement is the same, inform and farm. Okay, and B person. So three are the main requirements for the pharmacovigilance as well as farm. Okay. Pharmacovigilance means we do not allow B person, but materials can be allowed. Okay. Okay, I think you got your answer. Any more question? A role of AI. Sir, role of AI, artificial intelligence. Yes. The role of pharma in the pharmacovigilance actually what the system we have. That is the WHO. In the WHO we have three systems we are running. One is the VigiFlow for the reporting of area. Second is the Vigilize, and third is the Vigibase, which is the database of all the area. So now understand Vigilize. Vigilize is nothing but the AI-based system on it, where we have to do all the data mining. Data mining is the data. Now even I think now we have put into the objective. Even a data scientist also is the requirement for the job in the pharmacovigilance. Because what happens now we have 60 million plus databases. So now we need to stratify all these databases and do the data analysis. And for this we need the data analysis. So that's why whenever you come across with the AI, so Vigilize system is nothing but the AI, which is developed in the neural network AI system. So Bayesian method of neural network is developed on. So Vigilize. So it is one type of AI only, where we have to take the support for all the regulators. Japan ka you can take, Spain ka you can take, USA ka you can take, Germany you can take. So from sitting over here, I can take all the data from all the other countries and we can do the association study whether this type of a side effect even occurs in our population or not. So this is there. This is already there, sir. But yes, now that job profile will also come in future. I think 1 year after, because the system is developing right now. So after 1 year, even there are some data, or if people is with M.Pharm and data analyst course, so they have the more likely to get the job, because they have the both the information, medical also and that, data analysis also. Thank you, thank you. हेलो हाँ बताइए यस No, actually, what I have said about the compensation, it is for the clinical trial of both the type. Regulatory type means अगर कोई pharmaceutical industry want to do, at that time, only when there is some serious AE occur, serious adverse event occur, है ना? SAE जिसको बोलते हैं, इसमें एक form available होता है, we have to fill those form. And important thing is that you have to inform the regulator also that this was occurred. Why occur? If it is related, not related, we have to go and check with the whatever the reporting is done. With that, we have to take the call. So, if we found the relatedness, then the compensation can be asked. If there is no relation, if suppose some multiple drug is going on, so drug interaction occurred, suppose some drug diet interaction occurred, some habit of taking Ayurvedic medicine with allopathic medicine, there may chances of hard drug interaction. So if these type of so we have to do very stringent these causal cases. If relatedness is there, means certain probable possible in this segment if it is there, so we propose the compensation. So it is for both the trial, academic also, and thesis level also, and regulatory also. Understood? It is good enough. Both cases, yes, both cases, for new drug also, or old drug also. But for old drug, if it is already there in the textbooks, or if it is there, so there are two things. If it is there, you can say already this is the reported. So when you will fill the informed consent, तो आप patient को पहले ही बता देते हैं. You will inform the patient that this type of the information, this type of side effect can occur. So you will be safe if you there it is written there in the PIS. But if it is not written in the patient information sheet, so there you will be at the wrong side. है ना? So you have to inform if it is already reported. But if it is not reported, new drug, so you there are chances की compensation can happen. Means anyhow, if you are not informed the patient, then there is a chance of that. There is. So for it is meaning for the new drug application. Otherwise, what will happen? Every investigator will inform every aspect of those drug side effect indication to the patient as a PIS. Patient information sheet. So you have if information. Because serious adverse event. Yes, yes. Yes. Spontaneous reporting is a voluntary system of this. Means IPC is a voluntary system. So it is you have not causing patient is taking a doctor is prescribing a drug, patient is taking the drug. But in between this side effect occur, you are just going and collecting the data and submitting to the VG WHO. So it is not you are nowhere in the pool. So you are just reporting. So there is no comment. It is only for clinical trial. Yes.
Our students have prepared a video regarding the pharmacovigilance week celebrations.
Okay. Good. Yes, why not? Happy to. Yeah, please, go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Let's discuss about importance of ADR reporting. Hello everyone. Let's discuss about importance of ADR reporting. There was a girl named Madhuri who was suffering from severe cough and fever. She went to consult a doctor.
Sound is not there. Can you change the sound?
While she was waiting, the doctor came to her and introduced himself.
Hey, I am Dr. Chandru. What happened to you?
Sir, I'm Madhuri. I have been experiencing fever and severe cough.
Let's conduct some tests, review your reports and make a decision. I got your reports. There is nothing to worry. It is just a normal fever. Take this medicine for 5 days. If you have any problems, contact me.
She received her medicines at pharmacy. She went to her home. On day 1, she took her medicine. On day 2 also she took her medicine. On day 3, after she took her medicine, she is experiencing dizziness and chills.
After going through an ADR, one might face various situations be like: one might stop taking medicines. The patient may still continue to take same medicine and neglect about ADR. The patient may report the ADR to healthcare professionals. This is happening. I am experiencing dizziness and chills after the medicines.
It is not to the my medicine. It might be a neurological symptom. Go and consult a neurologist. Next patient.
Consequences of failing to report ADR: worsening of health condition, increase in health expenses, decreases the quality of life, increases the prevalence of ADR.
What if everyone reports the ADR? After experiencing the ADR, if patient is going to report,
Hello, doctor. I'm experiencing dizziness and chills after taking the medicines.
you might be experiencing an adverse drug reaction.
Adverse drug reaction. What is that?
An adverse drug reaction is an undesirable or harmful response that occurs after taking a medication or drug. Nothing to worry. I will change your medication. If anything again concerns you, contact me. I found an ADR. I have to go and report this ADR to AMC.
Hello, sir. I am Shravani. How can I help you?
Hello Shravani, I am Dr. Chandru. I found an ADR and I would like to report it.
Okay, sir. Please fill out the ADR reporting form and submit it. Thank you, sir, for reporting the ADR.
The impact of informing the ADR.
How to report the ADR? We can report by the ADR PVPI mobile app, by visiting the nearest ADR monitoring centers, by calling a toll-free number. What should we report? All types of adverse events related to suspected drug, whether known or unknown, serious or non-serious, and frequent or rare. Why to report? Update the healthcare professionals and other stakeholders on drug safety information to measure the economic impact of ADR prevention, regulatory interventions.
Let's see what happens after reporting an adverse drug reaction. When a patient consumes a drug, some may experience ADRs. When patients or healthcare professionals report these ADRs to Adverse Drug Reaction Monitoring Centers, these AMCs conduct analysis and processing of the reports using MIDI flow. Subsequently, the AMCs upload the ADR data to the National Coordination Center Pharmacovigilance Program of India. Following this, a rigorous quality assessment is performed, and signal detection is carried out. If the safety of the society is at risk, taking into account the severity of the ADRs, the regulatory authorities may opt to ban the drug. This comprehensive pharmacovigilance process is vital for ensuring the safety of patients and building a safer society.
Hi, I am Dr. Hamid, and I'd like to talk about global ICSR statistics. ICSR means Individual Case Study Report, a safety service document which include information required for reporting the adverse events and others problems. In the annual report for 2021 to 2022 from Uppsala Monitoring Center, it is evident that India's contribution to adverse drug reactions is disproportionately low compared to its substantial population share. Despite India representing approximately 17.7% of the world's population, the report reveals that only a minimal fraction, ranging from 0.0005% to 0.005%, of ADRs originate from India. This stark contrast suggests a significant underreporting of ADRs in your country. India contributes only 2% to the country distribution to individual case safety reports we receive over the year. This document is the report released by UMC.
Let's not overlook the silent risks of medication. Reporting adverse drug reactions isn't just a responsibility, it's a lifeline for patient safety. Your vigilance can save lives.
It was really a nice. Who have met the team you have shown at the last? I have applause. Good. We have good. With a good mixture of the information as well as the representation of how you can new technique of the study also, new technique of the teaching also. Good. Nice presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We like it. Actually, from pharmacovigilance also there is a competition for these. So have you applied for this? I will ensure that you apply for this. So there is also competition for these type of the movement. Suppose some creativity students are showing. So we have there is a presentation for this. The award for this also. So you will just go and check the IP single pharmacovigilance. If it, I think date is over, but date is there, just apply. Otherwise, you can prepare from next year also. Yeah. Thank you so much. Any question? Anything to discuss? Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for giving this opportunity. In future, we will contact you whenever we have come across with anything new in materials. Because right now we are developing the quality assessment skills. So it is not there in MBPI. MBPI is there, but MBPI is not there. So we will developing this. So as soon as we improve, we will get also. So I would like to thank all the students, all faculty members, and all coordinators. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can. Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
So I'm our driver family, conveyed my master thanks to Dr. Vikas Meri sir, Department of Pharmacology, Digital Chandigarh, coordinator of the Regional Coordination and Training Center for North Zone, and Pharmacovigilance Center, Digital Chandigarh, and Dr. Ajay Prakash sir, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacology, Digital, Deputy Coordinator for Regional Coordinating and Training Center for North Zone, Pharmacovigilance Center, Digital Chandigarh, for collaborating us and organizing awareness lecture on pharmacovigilance as a part of Nation Pharmacovigilance Week. So, and also clarify the doubts of our students. Thank you very much, sir. So,
Thank you so much. We look forward to your support in future also.
I convey sincere thanks to today's speaker, Dr. Sheila Gupta ma'am, Department of Pharmacology, Digital Chandigarh, for a wonderful talk on the subject of pharmacovigilance and about area reporting, sir. So, I hope our students get sufficient knowledge on the topic of pharmacovigilance and as well as area reporting, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We will look forward for collaboration and work. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. We can close now. Thank you so much.